What's up guys, I'm Egomi and I'm going to show you exactly how I created my track, Waiting on You.
I've been waiting on you for a long time. It's almost morning and I don't know if you're alright.
Alright, so I actually created this beat back in 2016, like 3.5 years ago. So I only had stems. I don't have the instruments for it, so I can only show you what I did via audio. But I'll show you exactly what I did. So the track starts out with a riser and goes into the verse like this. I'll mute the vocals. So there's this bell pad, right? And then I have this piano. I have a sub bass. And then I have a guitar. And that is the only melodic elements that I have in the verse. So it's just those three sounds and a bass. And that's really all I needed. Now what's important is that all those sounds are interesting. Right, this bell pad has a cool sound to it. The guitar I made sure to sound really cool, and the piano is all reverbed out and spacey, and so none of them are just standard boring sounds. And then in the chorus, melodically, there's actually less going on. There's a sub bass, I'll play it, and then there's this big pad, and then this smaller pad. Right, so I have those three sounds, and then those two pads sent to a reverb effect send, which is this. So that's just a reverb, so all three of these together sound like this. Which is just two pads and a reverb. So that and the bass is the only melodic elements going on in the chorus. So even though it's a huge chorus, there's only a couple sounds. Now, even though melodically I'm not using very many sounds, if we look at the drums, that's a bit different. As we can see, I actually have 6 different kick drums going on. I have one for the verse, which is this one, and then I have a bunch in the chorus. I have 2 at the very beginning, and then it goes to that main kick, and there's just a bunch of layers. And I think all those kicks make it sound just really unique and cool. I also have a different snare in the verses as I do in the chorus. So that's the verse snare, and then in the chorus I have that snare. And then I have just a bunch of percussion elements. So there's hi-hats, a chain, a tambourine, the drumsticks. I'm just hitting drumsticks together, and I thought that sounded cool. The other thing interesting about this is that a lot of these drums are not quantized, so they're a little bit off, and you'll be able to tell, especially in the chorus. Listen to the hi-hat as well as like the kicks. It's off. It's very off, and I think that's just a cool texture that I really like. I think it's a cool element. Then going into verse 2, I have a different sound. It's this sound here, which is very similar to this other bell pad I showed you before, which I'll play that. It's just, this one has so much more bells and noise and things, so it's just a little bit different. It's interesting. It's just to keep the interest to the listener. And that's pretty much all the sounds I have. I think the only other one is in the bridge. I have this piano pad, which sounds like this. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure why it's called piano pad, because it doesn't sound like a piano at all. But those are really the only sounds I have throughout the entire track. I have some risers here and there as well, but those are all the sounds. I think what really keeps the song interesting is the drums. I mean, you can tell, it's obvious too when it comes to the bridge that the drums are just going crazy. They're playing all sorts of things, you know. Starts out kind of normal a little bit, and then it just gets crazy. It's no timing. So when I break down the beat, I know it seems like I didn't do a lot, but a lot of it was in adjusting the timing of the drums and making the uniqueness of the drum hits sound the way that they do, because I think that the textures are what's really important. As I said before, it's the elements that I added, the piano, the guitar, all the sounds are interesting. There's nothing boring here. And so I took more time focusing on making sure the few sounds that I used are really unique and attention grabbing, rather than just adding a bunch of sounds that are kind of just okay or stock sounds, you know, preset sounds. So what about the vocals? In the chorus I have these vocals here.
I've been waiting on you for a long time. It's almost morning and I don't know if you're alright.
So I have my lead right here, and then I have a bunch of stacks and harmonies going on. And that's what fills up and makes this song just seem so big, because the vocals are big, and of course that synth I showed you earlier is really big. And this chorus was actually recorded years ago, so these vocals are old, while all my verse vocals I just recorded last month. So it's like a 3-year time difference in the vocals. And the funny thing too is that the chorus was recorded, you know, on a nice mic, you know, in a treated environment, and the verse I recorded them on this SM58 right here, like in no environment. So definitely, you know, if the vocals sound different from the verse to the chorus, they're recorded completely differently at different times, and it's honestly kind of funny that I even just recorded all this on a 58 because it's such a cheap microphone. But to me, it sounded fine, and I kept it. So in the verse, there's not too much going on vocally. It starts out with just a single
I can't
vocal,
handle this.
and then
No, I
it
don't
starts
dark.
having
Don't
a
wanna
couple
guess
harmonies,
what you're up to.
and then a few more harmonies.
So, no, I can't trust you no more. Just told me when I let you go.
But ultimately, there's really not a lot going on. It's just a couple little things. And even then, in the second verse, you know, I add one more harmony up on the very top, which sounds like...
So, and I won't trust you no more. Just
So it's just a, you know, auto-tuned, reverbed out vocal. So there's really not even a lot going on in the vocals. And same with the bridge, I'm just repeating "I've been waiting on you" over and over with a couple little ad-libs here and there. And the last thing I did was in the outro, I just pitched down the vocals an octave and I chopped them up, and it sounds like this.
I've been waiting on you for a long time.
And that is how I produced "Waiting on You."
I've been waiting on you for a long time. It's almost morning and I don't know